Welcome to this video on quantifiers. Quantifiers are words or phrases that we can use to talk about the quantity of things. For example, listen to these two short interactions. Would you like some coffee?
Yes, please, with a bit of milk and sugar. How many siblings do you have?
I don't have any. Can you see the quantifiers here? Here they are. The words some, a bit of, many, and any are all examples of quantifiers. They tell you about the quantity of the nouns, the coffee, milk, sugar, and siblings. The quantifiers that we use depend on the quantity of the noun we want to describe, and whether the noun is countable or uncountable. Let's look at our first quantifier, some. Read and listen to these examples that use the word some. Did he give you some coffee? In this question sentence, we use some because the amount of coffee is not important. We just mean a small amount of coffee, perhaps 1 cup. Here's another. I could see some cars. In this sentence, we use some with the plural countable noun cars, which means a small amount of cars, perhaps 3 or 4. We use the quantifier some to talk about a quantity that is less than all, or when we are not sure about the quantity, or when the quantity is not important. Now let's look at the quantifier any. Read and listen to these examples that use the word any. Is there any chocolate cake left? In this question sentence, we use any to ask if an item exists or not. In this case, chocolate cake. Here's another example. There weren't any problems. In this negative sentence, we use any to refer to a zero quantity of the noun, problems. We could also say here, there were no problems. Here's another example. You can have any hamburger you like. In this example, we use any with the countable noun hamburger to say that it is not important which specific hamburger we are referring to. The next quantifiers we'll look at are much, many, lots of, and a lot of. Read and listen to these two examples. How many players are there? How much food is there? In both sentences, we are referring to an unspecified amount of the nouns players and food. But why did we use many in the first sentence and much in the second? The difference was because the word players is a countable noun and the word food is an uncountable noun. We use many with countable nouns and much with uncountable nouns. Now read and listen to these two sentences. There are many activities. There is so much water. In both sentences, we are referring to a large amount of the nouns activities and water. But why did we use many in the first sentence and so much in the second? The difference was that activities is a countable noun and water is an uncountable noun. We can use many in affirmative sentences with countable nouns and so much in affirmative sentences with uncountable nouns. In both these sentences, we can replace the words many and so much with the phrases a lot of or lots of. For example, there are lots of activities. There is a lot of food. Lots of and a lot of can be used with both countable and uncountable nouns. Now let's look at a few and a little. Read and listen to these two sentences. I have a few friends in Bogota. I like a little sugar in my tea. In both cases, we're talking about a small quantity of the nouns friends and sugar. However, we can only use the phrase a few with countable nouns like friends, and the phrase a little with uncountable nouns like sugar. Next, let's look at the quantifiers several, a couple of, and a bit of. First, let's compare several and a couple of. Read and listen to these sentences. I have a couple of friends. I have several friends. Which quantifier do you think refers to more friends? The correct answer is several. A couple refers to a quantity of 2. Several could mean 4 or 5 friends, or even more. Now let's look at a bit of. Here's an example sentence. I would like a bit of water. A bit of refers to a small quantity of something. Is water a countable or uncountable noun? It's an uncountable noun. We can only use a bit of with uncountable nouns. Finally, let's look at the quantifier enough. Read and listen to this example sentence. We have enough food for everyone, but we don't have enough drinks. We use enough to say whether the amount of something we have is sufficient. In this case, we don't need any more food, we have enough. But we do need more drinks, we don't have enough. So that's it for this video. Now move on to the next exercises where you can put this learning into practice.